What's going on, YouTube? Fair Play here. Happy Monday. I hope everybody's been having a great day thus far, since it's not far from being over. I just want to get on here for a little bit before I go to the radio station and get me a little exercise. I just wanted to talk about a couple of little stories here that have popped up. I want to talk about Tim Norman and the latest with him. You know, he always in a mess. He just needs to grow up. And I'm talking about Miss Robbie's son. Yeah, the son of the Miss Robbie that owns Sweetie Pies in St. Louis, Houston, and a couple of other cities, y'all. That Tim. Also, we're going to talk about Wendy Williams again. Wendy Williams done put her foot in her mouth again. It's like every other day now, right? And plus, I wonder why people now, I mean, she was talking crazy before she went on her hiatus, but not like this. Not like this, y'all. People didn't get mad like they do now. But before I get to those two things, because those are the main two things, I know everybody has seen and heard about this USC college scandal. This, all of these people, dozens of people charged in connection with this college admission scheme, where these people have paid millions or thousands on top of thousands, and they said over $6 million to get their students admitted to college. All they did was pay people. The kids didn't even have to pass the ACT. They didn't have to do anything. They just lied the way into college. Oh my God, there's so many people, and so the children are being kicked out of college, as they should be, because they don't qualify. They're losing, some of these actresses' daughters, kids are losing sponsorships, and they're losing what do you call it? Oh my God, endorsements. Lori Laughlin's daughter, for example, Felicity Huffman, her daughter. I mean, it's just a mess. It's a big old mess. But y'all, I just want to say, when I heard about this, I wasn't shocked at what they found. I was just shocked that they finally exposed it. It took them 100 years to expose this kind of stuff, because it's been going on for decades. All right, hardworking people like your children. People like myself who went to school and worked hard and had to pray for a grant or some scholarship funds, and then you had to continuously work and get all kind of extra credit, and had to do work study and all kind of things just to be able to stay in school, just to buy a big book, and pray your mom had $200 or $300 to buy those expensive books that they sell in school. This is what we went through, and we done worked hard for our 3.0s and 4.0s in school. And then you got people like this who have every opportunity afforded to them, who don't have to do anything, don't even have to open books or even care about school, like Lori Laughlin's daughter said on video the other day. They could just go to school for free. I know somebody else, a very important person, that did the same thing. His parents paid his way through school too, and now he's the leader of the free country. You know what I'm saying? But let me hush about that, because somebody might get mad. But this is what they do, and this is what they've been doing for years, y'all. And I'm so glad they are exposing them. It's not just the University of Southern California. It's several prestigious schools. There's there's Yale and Berkeley and several others. You name it. It's at least 10, 15 schools that's been named in doing this type of mess. But I guarantee you, all of the elite schools have done it. Okay, all of them have done it. And this is what we have for years. It's been going on. And these people, these students have gotten out of school, or they paid for these degrees and stuff. And the next thing you know, we wind up having to work with these dummies, because they are dumb. Like Michelle Obama said in her speech last week, she said she has sat at the table of some of the most powerful people in the world, in different organizations, non-profits, different committees, different these big money collaborations she's done, and worked with these people. And she said she look around the table, they're not that smart. And she wasn't saying anything that I didn't know, because I work in corporate America too. I'm at work now, as a matter of fact, like I said. And I promise you, these people are not that smart, y'all. And you look at them and you wonder how they got their jobs. But most of us know. Most of us know how they got their jobs. It's who they know, how they know them, and how much money they have in a lot of cases, okay? So, and it's just a shame, and it's offensive to those of us that have worked hard to earn what we do have. And then you got people over here getting a free ride, when their parents are already rich. They already have every opportunity afforded to them. And I just wanted to say that, y'all, because it's really disheartening, and I hope a lot of things change. A lot of things need to change. Like I said once before, we're living in a time of exposure. And they need to be brought out big time. They need to go through every school like that with a fine-tooth comb, all right? And it's probably not just the prestigious one. It's probably some of these other colleges, these mediocre colleges as well. So anyway, and that's just been a whole bunch of stories that keep coming out about the parents that lost their jobs, which they should have. They've lost endorsements. They've been fired from television shows. I mean, you got all kinds of people, all types of wealthy people that have been affected, and good for them. Good for them. They need to go to jail. They really do. They should do a little prison time as far as I'm concerned. And they have lost millions of dollars. So anyway, y'all, let me move right along. I just wanted to speak on that for a minute, let you know my thoughts on this thing. Tim Norman. There's an article. There are several articles, but I'm looking at Radar Online right now. And it says, pay up. Welcome to Sweetie Pie's Tim Norman. He's sued for $250,000 by the landlord. Now, when I first saw that title of that article, Tim Norman sued for $250,000 by the landlord, I thought they were talking about his house, but they're not talking about his house. They're actually talking about the restaurant. It says, welcome to Sweetie Pie's star Tim Norman is accused of not paying $250,000 in restaurant rent fees. According to court papers obtained by the Blast website, Kinzinger Properties filed a lawsuit against Tim Norman and the company behind Sweetie Pie's restaurant. It alleges that Norman took out a lease with the company for a property in Houston, Texas, where the Sweet Times by Sweetie Pie's restaurant was previously located. The company accuses the reality star of breaching the agreement and claims he owes a total of $254,019.76 in back rent and other unpaid fees. They are suing for the unpaid balance plus interest from the reality star. The Missouri native is also dealing with some other legal woes. Norman, who is 39 years old, was charged last year with a misdemeanor assault by the district attorney of Harris County, Texas. He is accused of assaulting his former restaurant employee named Horace Hodges. So Tim has if y'all watch Sweetie Pies like I did, he was always getting into something them last couple of years. It seems like the more popular and the more celebrity status that the show achieved or attained, he became more stupid, and he started doing stupider stuff. You remember he dated Jennifer Williams, the Basketball Wives of LA and Miami chick that used to be married to Eric Williams. He dated her, and that ended sourly, and both of them wound up filing restraint orders against each other, and it was just a big old mess, and he was supposedly hiding his big butt in the bushes, and it was crazy, y'all. I mean, he's always into something, and y'all also know from watching the show, because he made me mad most of the time. He was running around the country trying to start Sweetie Pies, which he was doing in a couple of places, like in Houston and LA. He was starting Sweetie Pies without Miss Robbie's permission. Just getting stores in her name. Just crooked. Just a crook. And then when Miss Robbie sued him, which she should have, son or no son, because if he cared anything about being her son, he never would have disrespected her like this. She filed a lawsuit against him, because that was the only way he was going to learn. She had told him a couple of times, Tim, don't do this, don't do this. She told him the first time, and he kept doing it. So she finally had to show him, because she could show him better than she could tell him, right? And so he had the nerve to get mad, spoiled and entitled. And see, I began to see why Tim went to prison when he was 17 years old and stayed in there 10 years. He was crooked, breaking in people's houses and robbing people and stuff like that. That boy was crooked. And so on the show, he got on my nerves the whole time I was watching Sweetie Pies. I'm so glad Janae got away from him, and I'm sure that she's glad that she got away from him, because he just can't be trusted. He's almost 40 years old. You might as well say 40 years old, and he's still doing dumb stuff, okay? And I guess finally after Miss Robbie sued him, I don't know what the outcome was, but I do believe, I'm pretty sure it ended in her favor. He has had to change the name of these restaurants that he has, and he has had to, I'm pretty sure he had to pay her some money too, which gave him some bad publicity. They're probably not as successful as Miss Robbie's stores off, because he doesn't run his stuff the way Miss Robbie runs hers, okay? But I think it's sad and it's pitiful. I'm thinking, what's next? What is next? He out here acting like they're going to have another season of Sweetie Pies, because this would definitely be some drama for the show. You know what I'm saying? So anyway, I wanted to mention that too. There you go. Tim Norman in trouble, owing $250,000 back rent. And I just can't understand why he didn't pay it unless he doesn't have it, or there's no way he can get that far behind, which is probably at least a year, almost a year in rent, I'm assuming. And for him not to pay it, for this to be going on. So, of course, it's not just rent, but it's interest that he's owing to, probably late fees as well. So, y'all, this is a mess. Not a good look, Tim. Not a good look. And last but not least, Wendy Williams done put her foot in her mouth yet again. This time it's in reference to Aretha Franklin's family, y'all. Now, I don't know why people are always saying stuff about dead people that they don't know that they can no longer speak for. You can't speak for a dead person, okay? But she called herself going to try to speak for Aretha Franklin last Friday. And the article says, again, I keep telling y'all, I do not have to watch her show because there's always an article telling us what she says. Every time she gets called out, every time she puts her foot in her mouth, there's an article that gets put out, and somebody always sends them to me, y'all, because I do a radio show and they know this stuff I talk about. On this particular article here, it's from Ebony. Aretha Franklin's family has called out Wendy Williams for dissing the new film, which is entitled Amazing Grace, the Aretha Franklin story, y'all. Her family has spoke out this past Sunday in response to Wendy Williams' inaccurate and disparaging comments about the forthcoming concert documentary Amazing Grace. Originally shot in 1972, the documentary showcases the late singer performing over 2 consecutive nights at the New Temple Missionary Baptist Church in Los Angeles. During Friday's episode of her Wendy Williams show, the talk show host called out the film's quality and questioned the intentions behind its posthumous release. I would imagine that, this is what she says, I would imagine that now the bill collectors are like, okay, rest in peace, Aretha Franklin, but we still need our money for this. We need money for that. So by putting this movie out, I would say that the estate is probably going to be paying the bills with this, she said during her Hot Topic segment. See how she always talking like she knows what she's talking about and she don't. The veteran host highlighted Franklin's less glamorous look in the film. She talked about the lady's looks. Williams added, now you know Miss Franklin, she was very into her showgirl glamour and stuff. This was just regular makeup for her. She would want the pressed hair, the done lashes, and a good outfit, and her background people to be fabulous. Now, how she know that? How she know what Aretha Franklin would want at this point? How did she know that? And furthermore, if her family doesn't have a problem with them seeing her the way that she was, we've seen a lot of video footage and pictures of Aretha Franklin back in the day when she wasn't all glamorous and made up in the straight hair and the eyelashes and the shimmery lip gloss and everything. We saw her like that anyway. So what is Wendy talking about? Nothing, stuff she don't even know about. She gonna speak for the dead, okay? Say she would want all of the people to be fabulous in her documentary. And we know in our life, we were not fabulous our whole lives, okay? It says Franklin's family released a lengthy statement to the Detroit press, hitting back at several key things Williams said in her recap of the film. The family of the late singer called out the talk show host for taunting the film. Ms. Franklin had specifically sought to perform in a stripped-down church service setting by showing a brief clip out of context and mocking its quality on her show. Williams inaccurately represented Miss Franklin and the movie to her audience like she does everything. The statement addressed Williams' claim that Franklin did not want the film to be released, and while Franklin had initially imposed an injunction on Amazing Grace, her objections had nothing to do with its quality. Negotiations were incomplete at the time of her death. Her family feels this documentary is another prime example of the Queen of Soul's genius. Addressing comments about Franklin's physical appearance, the statement continued, 1972 was the era of black power and black is beautiful, the estate said. In her short natural hair and simple makeup, Miss Franklin was in step with the times and appropriate to the occasion. There was no showgirl glamour, no pressed hair, and no eyelashes, the lack of which Williams ridiculed on her program. The simplicity of the presentation gives Amazing Grace its power. In closing, the statement said Wendy Williams is the host of the most watched daytime gossip show in syndicated television. However, that does not give her license to offer misleading commentary about a legacy entertainer based on unverified information. Amazing Grace will hit the theaters on April 19th. They also put a trailer on here to watch, and I will watch that when I end this video with you guys. But yeah, Wendy Williams spoke like she always does. She speaks out of turn. She was out of order. It's just the fact that she inserted her opinion as if it would have been Aretha Franklin's opinion. Now, why would Aretha Franklin want a documentary about her when she was in her 30s or 20s back in the early days, in the 70s, to show her glamorized when she wasn't glamorized back in those days? Now, I know some people do have a problem with how they look back in the day, but we've already seen Aretha Franklin at her worst and at her, not even gonna say her worst, but we've seen her when she was not so glamorous versus being glamorous. So Wendy Williams, knock it off. Again, she needs to start thinking before she speaks, and I'm beginning to wonder if she's become an airhead since she left and came back, y'all. Anyway, that's what I wanted to mention, y'all. When y'all get a chance, check that out. I thought I had a clip of her talking, and maybe I do have a clip. Let me see. She was talking about Britney Spears and that musical she had. This may be it. Let's see. I don't know.
Woman to deal with. I say that in a loving way because I knew her too.
Okay, here it comes, y'all.
She gave me the business as well. Oh, Miss Franklin. So
that's a pretty dress Wendy got on.
That Aretha never wanted any of us to see. But it's finally going to hit the big screen. Okay. Back in 1972, Aretha made a documentary, and it was called Amazing Grace. Literally, this is footage from the documentary. If you're looking for more camera
she looked
shots,
pretty in the
you're not gonna
documentary,
get
if you ask me. She had on some
It
makeup
takes place in a church.
in one part of it.
There's Aretha singing. Now, you know, Miss Franklin, she was very into her showgirl glamour and stuff. This is just regular makeup for her. Where, you know, she would want the pressed hair and the done lashes and a good outfit and her background people to be fabulous.
How you gonna go back in time and change your clothes?
You guys, this is a one-camera shot. They want you to go to the movies to see this. Now here at this church,
she's an airhead.
A lot of her songs.
That's the way she looked in 1972, Wendy. She can't change that.
For an iconic album that she did. So she did an album from this, but somehow she does not want this to be released. And you know, if you're an artist and if you're particular about every part of what you do, you have that right. And now she's passed away, and you might be saying, well, what is her estate doing? This is the one time where
every star that had a documentary made had a problem with how they looked 30 and 40 years ago, nobody would ever have had a documentary or a biography made about them.
And her niece was, you know, head of security, and you know, and that's a great thing because it really does make you feel coddled and at home when you're on the road. And off the road, and it makes you feel like people aren't going to fleece you for your money on one hand. On the other hand, when you don't have real professional people doing real professional things for you, sometimes you lose out. When Miss Franklin passed away, it was no secret that the finances were a mess. And she hasn't been gone for that long. And I would imagine that now the bill collectors are like, okay, rest in peace, Aretha Franklin, but we still need our money for this. We need money for that. So by putting this out, this movie out, I would imagine, I'm going to say that the estate is probably going to be paying bills with this. This is not so that the kids and her family can steal from her. I don't think that at all. But instead of putting it in the movies, because this is a lot, people like Aretha Franklin. There are people Aretha Franklin's age and older. People love her. She's iconic. Nobody's going to the movies to see a one-shot deal.
Somebody's going to the movie, I promise you.
Like black and white, except for the eyeshadow, that was blue. I think that what the estate should do is package this and sell it to like a big movie house or a big production company or something like that, and let them take it and do with it what they want. In the meantime, get as much as you can from that big company, and don't have cousin Junebug do the contract.
Okay, I've heard enough.
And more importantly than this movie right here is Amazing Grace, which is going to be the story of Aretha's life. You know, they're working on that right now. Jennifer Hudson's going to play Aretha.
Don't tell me people not going to the movies to see it.
And that movie comes out next year.
J-Hood would be good.
Everybody, we got more great show for you.
Anyway, like I said, if all famous people had a problem with the way that they looked back 25, 30, 40, 45 years ago, none of them would have a documentary or a biography made about them. So she don't know what she talking about. If they did one about her, and we know she looked rough back in the day. She looked rough now to me. But anyway, she just gets on my nerves, y'all, now, saying stuff. Anyway, y'all, I just wanted to talk to y'all about that. I'm fixing to go and get me a little exercise, and then I'm going to the studio. Y'all have a great rest of the night, and I will talk to you later. Bye-bye.